Maybe I should start talking.
Welcome to the Nevada Theaters at the Nevada Theater. Nevada Theater. What are we going to watch? Phantom of the Opera, starring Lon Chaney and Mary Philbin. If you start clapping, it'll be good. Thank you for indulging. How many of y'all have seen this movie before? Oh, this one. So how many have never seen it? Well, I'm glad we could do it first. And how many just didn't feel like putting their hands down? Always. I don't know what changes between the second question. Something. We'll talk after. How many of you have seen us before? Came back. Thank you for coming back. Yes, very good. Well, for those who don't know, I passed out a flyer that's got more information about us. We are the Invincible Czars. We're a band from Austin, Texas. Your favorite state. And this is ours, of course. We started out as a band just making our own weird brand of music on 6th Street, Red River, like all the other bands. And then in 2007, we started doing these kinds of shows, silent film accompaniment, where we create our own scores for the movies and play live for the Alamo Draft House. Maybe y'all have heard of the Alamo. Back then, there were only a couple of Alamos. There were in Austin and Houston. Now, of course, it's a chain. The closest one here is San Francisco. We were there a few nights ago. And now we go all over the country. If you look on the back versus the front, I can't tell which side's which. Of that flyer, it's got our whole itinerary, and you'll see that we're on night number, 9 of 45? We've got a little ways to go. Yes, we've been sleeping in parks along the way. So if you'd like to buy some of our merchandise, that helps us to get a deluxe bench and the nicest park in each town that we go to. And there's a QR code on there. Actually, if you want to leave us a tip, you can. There are a couple of QR codes on there. You can download Phantom with the soundtrack that we just recorded. And then the other one, we take a reference video of all of our shows, and if you join our email list with that other QR code, you can also just email me, invinciblezars@gmail.com. We'll send you the video that's being recorded right over there tomorrow. I think Spencer has some stuff to say, am I right?
I do.
Go right ahead, and I'll pick back up in a sec.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. Just wanted to give a land acknowledgement. We understand that we are on Nissan land that was never ceded, and we acknowledge that the Nissan people are still here among us today. So freaking cool to have all of you guys here for this. We're so excited. Next week, we launch into some Al Pacino films, which you saw up there. And then in October, we're doing some double features for some Schlocktober, some schlocky horror. It'll be super fun. All right. So I'm going to do the thing now that everybody is really looking forward to me doing, the only thing, which is the raffle. So get those tickets out. All right. Our first winner, 8784. 8784, the last 4 digits. Anybody? Maybe that's the Phantom of this theater. All right. Oh, we got it. All right.
Let's really hear it for them. Come on. These people are good at taking tickets.
I'll get your prize in just a second. Okay. Our second victor, 5916. 5916. All right, I'll get you in just a second. And we're going to do our last winner. 8841. All right, 8841. We'll start in just a second. I'll get those prizes to you. Thanks everybody for coming out. I hope you enjoy it.
Yes, let's hear it for Spencer. Let's hear it for the Onyx for putting on great shows. Yes. There were a couple more things I wanted to tell y'all before we get started. Those of you that have seen us before know that we like to have a little bit of fun when we watch these. Actually, we like to have a lot bit of fun. And one of those things that we do is we like to make some of the sound effects for the movie. And tonight we have a very special guest on Foley. You don't know what Foley is. It's all the sound effects that you hear in a movie. This is Greg Barbanel, also known as Hollywood Barbanel. That's his walkie-talkie. Greg is a real deal Foley artist from Hollywood. If you've seen Breaking Bad, or Better Call Saul, or Dumb and Dumber, or Hellraiser 3, or what else? Any of the other 600 movies, Spider-Verse, that he's done the Foley for, and then you've heard Greg on a movie. So we're very honored to have him here tonight. He lives in Santa Fe now and came to one of our shows. And this happens from time to time where people say, hey, I want to come to your show. I used to work at Hollywood. And I always go. When I looked at his IMDb page, I went, oh, we should have this guy. And he came to the show and he was like, you guys need me. And we said, yeah, we do. So, yeah, we love having Greg. He's only on our California and Arizona shows, so it's a very special treat. We also have enough guests. Yes. And we have another special guest tonight, one of your own Californians. His name is Josh Coleman, playing the voice of the Phantom tonight. We're very excited. It's going to be good. It could be terrible, but it's not going to be good. He wore a cape, it has to be good. You know it's good. And some of the other sound effects we need y'all's help with. I hope this won't ruin it for you to know, but in this movie, there's an audience in the opera house, and who better to make the sound of an audience than an audience, right? So, do whatever the audience does. If they clap, clap. If they cheer, cheer. If they freak out, freak out. If they throw underwear, throw clean underwear this time, not like last year. The others, I also hope this won't ruin it for you. There's some screaming in this movie. If you see any character scream, scream. Should we practice? Yeah. Let's practice, but before you do it, don't blow yourselves out on this warm-up. Okay? Just like a 7 out of 10. Ready? On 3. 3. That's a 7. It's a good thing we're wearing in-ear monitors to plug our ears a little bit. Okay. Yours are still ringing. That's very good. I feel good. Now, the third one is related to both of the last two. As with most of our movies that we do, near the end, there's an angry mob. Now, no pitchforks, no torches. They won't allow open flames in here. But grumble. Think of we were just talking about this. Think of your favorite politician, and give the reaction that you would do for that. Don't come up on the stage. You'll fall. But you know. Last thing. This is not a sound so much as an activity. In the middle of this movie is some of the first color footage in the history of cinema, and it's a dance sequence. Have you ever danced in a movie theater? Yes. You have. Well, you're going to get to do it again tonight. We did this in Olympia, Washington, and without any prompting whatsoever, every single person stood up, and there were 200 of them, and danced. So, we can't have our reference video showing footage of Nevada City being outdone by Olympia, Washington. So, please, dance. If you dance, you win the dance challenge / contest. Do we need to practice the dance? We do? Let's practice the dance. Will you give us a dance beat? Sure. What? Yeah. Better give them the beat it's gonna be. It's a tough beat. Here you go. You gotta stand up or it doesn't dance. Okay, this is very good so far. This is already very good. This is already excellent. Yeah. party, but it's okay, you're still invited. That was very good. This is going to be good. Okay. And we got it with the lights so that if they forget to do it, we can overdub it later. They're going to kill it. They're going to be very good. All right. I know I've been talking for a while. I need to get myself situated here, so while I do that, Stefan is going to introduce the band to you. Here he is.
Give it up for our fearless big booty leader, Josh Robbins. This is what sells tickets right here. To my left, also your left, Greg, I can't believe it's too late for breakfast, Barbanel. Please, thank you. It's truly an honor, brother. Thank you for being here. To my left, also your left, playing all of the wins, Kevin, I can't believe this edible's kicking in right before we go on stage. Sakai. Killing it. Still slightly to my left and to your left. Bill, I dress better than everybody in this mother. Davidson on the strings and cue. And one more time for your own Joshua Coleman as the voice of the Bible. And to my right, also to your slight right, tickling the ivories right now, Wesley, my back hurts, but I'm still down to party Haynes. And my name is Stefan Lopulska. Thank you so much for being here. I think we're about ready.
Already, all right. Let's watch The Phantom of the Opera. Thank you for coming tonight. Here's our signature awkward silence.
I know those guys.
To you I have imparted the full measure of my heart. You will triumph. All Paris will worship you. But I warn you, you must forget all worldly things and think only of your career and your master. Soon, Christine, this spirit will take form and command your love. Call for me when you will. I shall be waiting. for you. Walk to your mirror, my dear. Have no fear. Christine, it is I, your master. Come on, come on. Look not upon my mask. Think rather of my devotion, which has brought you the gift of my song. Come on, come on. That's right. Come on. Brought you here, 5 cellars underground. Because I love you. For long, weary months I have awaited this hour. So that which is good within me, aroused by your purity, might plead for your love. Keeps me reminded of that other dream, less sleep that cures all ills forever. If I am the phantom, it is because man's hatred has made me so. If I shall be saved, it will be because your love redeems me. Men once knew me as Eric. But for many years I have lived in these cellars, a nameless legend. Since first I saw your face, this music has been singing to me of you and of love, triumphant. Yet listen, there sounds an ominous undercurrent of warning. How you like me now? Feast your eyes, flood your soul. Oh, mad Christine, who would not heed my warning. I shall prove to you the depth of my love. You may return to your world for the present. You may sing in the opera once more. But remember, you are mine. Mine! And you shall not see your lover again. If you do, it is death to you both. It's time to dance!
Better about the opera.
Beneath your dancing feet are the tombs of tortured men. Thus does the Red Death rebuke you and your merriment.
Better about the opera.
is betraying me! No! could cheat the Phantom? Ungrateful fool. You have spurred the spirit that inspired you, the spirit that made you great. Now you shall see the evil spirit that makes my evil face. No longer like a toad in these foul cellars will I secrete the venom of hatred, for you shall bring me love. What the? Did you hear voices? I think I heard voices. Perhaps we have more callers. You gotta see this. The fools! Do they think they can match their wits against Eric? What do you offer for their lives? Oh, really? Your answer quick. They can survive, but only a few moments. Ugh. You have your chance of saving him. Will you be the bride of Eric? Or do you prefer to watch your lover die? If you turn Scorpion, you have said yes and spared the chain. Turn the grasshopper, and the opera house is blown to 1,000 bits. Anything? She's mine! Stay there. Alright, let's go! Come on! Yeah! Come on, let's go! You're never gonna catch us! Yeah! Let's go! Come on! Yeah! Wait, what? What the?
You made it, and we made it. Thank you for watching the Phantom of the Opera with us tonight. Let's hear it for Joshua Coleman as the voice of the Phantom. And let's hear it for the Nevada Theater, the Onyx Theater, Spencer, Casey, and Jack who made us sound good tonight. Thank you for having us. That's great. Hollywood Barbadell in the building. Playing the drums and it's very shiny. curious to know. Let me turn this down on my foot here. Oh, there's your dance music. Also, give yourselves a round of applause. That was very good dancing. Thank you. We go some places that they don't dance. And you know what happens then? We don't go back. So we'll definitely come back here and dance with y'all anytime. I'm curious to know though. Now don't just blurt it out because I'm losing my hearing. What do you think the lesson of this film was? Just raise your hand and I'll call upon you if you have a good idea for what the lesson of this film might be. Anybody? No? Yes? Say that one more time louder. That is an important lesson for 2025 and anytime. Yeah. Can we hear it for that lesson? Very good. Thank you. Yes.
Don't kidnap a girl on the first date.
Don't kidnap a girl on the first date. Also an important lesson for 2025 or anytime. Yes.
Don't spell Eric with a K.
Oh, don't spell it with a K. No extra K's either. Yes.
Don't touch the mask.
Don't touch the mask. That should have been. Yes.
Swimming lessons.
That is, you win a prize. That is the lesson. Learn to swim. That would have saved a lot of trouble for a lot of characters. You win a prize. Seriously, come see me. Only 2 people have ever guessed it, and you're one of them. We're going to be hanging out with our merchandise. We're going to be hanging out up here if y'all want to come talk to us. Good night, Nevada City, wherever you are.